Hello everyone! The Warrior of Light has 8 classes to pick from at the starting screen and 9 classes to level from level 1 in Final Fantasy XIV. So today we will explore the story of the Gladiator class, their origin, their history, and the leveling experience up to level 30. We begin by entering the Gladiator Guild, where I ask kindly to become a gladiator. It does seem like no one is overly impressed with me, so I go and show the guildmaster my fierceness, and they give me a short sword. Is this a size joke? Well, I guess I'm a gladiator now. So, off we are sent by our dear guild leader to murder some marmots, hornets, and shrews. While I take care of that, let's talk about the gladiator. A gladiator is a level 1 to level 30 class which then specializes into the paladin job. The gladiator are fierce fighters and protectors brandishing a one-handed blade and a shield. If you like shields, that would be the class for you, as they are the only disciple of war capable of equipping them. The gladiator takes on the tanking role in a dungeon, giving you the tanking stance and some damage mitigation skills. The main combat rotation is focused on combos where you weave one attack into the next. And finally, my favorite, you can throw your shield at the enemy. It's nothing special really, but I find it super funny that we can boomerang the shield into the enemies to get their attention, especially when the shield is probably about half my size. And with that, we can go back to our leveling. Don't worry, I just finished off the innocent critters, and we return to our guildmaster. With that done, we are sent off to level up to level 5, which I do by murdering few more shrews. We return again at level 5 and go back to our guildmaster. This woman is named Mila. She is currently the first sword, or in other words, well, the guildmaster of the Gladiator Guild. Before her, her father used to be the first sword. She entered the guild at the age of 5, and at the time she was rather nervous around blades and fighting, but with time Mila grew into a formidable fighter, and has taken on the role of the first blade 7 years ago after her father passed away. Mila takes her time now to explain to us the role of the guardian, or in short, the tank, introducing the concept of enmity and protecting our allies. Some marauders have been harassing the people outside the Adventuring Guild, and Mila believes the best way to learn this lesson is to deal with those ruffians. So off we go to teach those big burly brutes a well-earned lesson. We use for this the most threatening emote known to man. I am purely trembling in fear. It still seems to have the desired effect. The ruffians were quick to run off, all except Farmul, who turns to attack us, but is distracted by a man sitting nearby. This Hyrule man gives the name of Aldis, and it's clear that Farmul recognizes him by his sword, and definitely fears it. This leads to Farmul running away, and Aldis soon heads off to take a short walk. Well, with Aldis' help, the issue has at least been sorted. So off we run to let Momodi know of our success. She asks us a favor to not tell Mila about Aldis having been there, wishing to avoid the drama. We go talk to Mila, who informs us that Farmul and his gang may have left the city, but now they are harassing people around the Scorpion Crossing instead. So, it's time we head off and take care of those bastards once and for all. At Scorpion Crossing, we find out the gang has just recently robbed the merchant. This way we know where the gang is, so we head over there and take them down and return the wares back to the merchant. Then we tell Mila about their progress, and she tells us to head off to do a little bit more adventuring and return to her at level 10. So once more I head off and murder some innocent critters, but in the meantime, let me tell you a little bit about Aldis. Aldis used to be part of the Gladiator Guild. He was a very popular gladiator with the Ul'dah coliseum. During the time, he would often partner up with a friend of his named Leovold, the pair being referred to as the Sword of Nald and Thal, named after the twin deities of Ul'dah. During their time as gladiators, Gerald Blackthorn, a master weaponsmith, forges the two a unique set of blades. These are twin blades looking identical, and Aldis named his Francie. And with that he became known as one of the greatest swordmen of the realm. During his time at the Coliseum, Aldis fell in love with Mila, who at the time was only the daughter of the guildmaster. The two had a romantic relationship for a time, but 7 years ago everything went sideways. There was a scandal relating to a match fixing, and Aldis became embroiled in it. We know the guildmaster died at this time, though the stories of how it happened vary. Some say the guildmaster took his own life from the shame of Aldis' action, Others say Aldis has poisoned the guildmaster, or even that Aldis fought him in the coliseum and killed him there. Either way, Aldis was marked as a criminal and ended up fleeing Ul'dah, leaving Mila behind. That was 7 years ago, and since then, Mila has not heard a single word from her lover. And I am back now at level 10. So it's time to talk to Mila again. This time, there's a group of lancers going about killing hired men, armed with swords. Mila wants us to go investigate the matter, so off we go. Though, before then, I do want to point out that I still have a short sword, so if this is a short sword, I can't wait to try our class which has a great sword. Outside the gates of Ul'dah, we come across a fellow gladiator being attacked by a group of lancers. We rescue the man who tells us these brutes came asking if he was Aldis. It seems these men search for Aldis by checking every hired man in the area, which is a rather interesting approach, but I guess it could work. Mamodi did ask us not to tell Mila about Aldis, but I fear it's time we tell her. After all, she deserves to know why the gladiators are being attacked. So we talk to Mila, and from her we learn these are dusk white freelancers, all the way from the Black Shroud. But before we can tell her about Aldis, a young man named Bruce comes running in, telling us there is a gang of freelancers hiding near Blackborough Station. So off we go, this time with Bruce in tow as our healer, to put an end to this nonsense. We dispatch the dusk white and their captain easily enough with Bruce's help. We now have the option of telling Mila about Aldis being in the city or not. I believe Mila has the right to know, no matter their history. So I tell her the truth, that these guys are tracking a man named Aldis. And Mila is very startled. She needs some time to digest the information, and we are sent off to adventure up to level 15. And soon enough, I am back with a new weapon. At some point, I seem to have gotten tired of using a sword, and now I walk around with an oversized parrel, painting with a leopard spot, which had some razors glued on the sides. Nonetheless, Mila seems to accept this new improvised weapon, and sends us off to Camp Drybone to serve on security duty for the Immortal Flames and the Brass Blades. The Amaljabi tribes have been raiding caravans in the area, and it is by now causing some serious disruption in the trade that passes through there. We head over there to meet up with another gladiator. We do find our guild brother injured next to a tipped-over caravan. The merchant is thankfully unharmed, having been kept safe by our guild brother. But the Amaljabi are still there, so we take them down before bringing the news back to Mila. And as we give her the news, Aldis enters the guild hall. Mila understandably demands to know where the hell he has been, as he believed him dead. And he tells her he has been on a spiritual journey of self-discovery. Wow, that's not going to go on well. Yep, she threatens to kill him, to which he kind of just mocks her and leaves to go hang out the quicksand. Is it just me, or is this guy a bit of an ass? Well, off we go to the quicksand, where he kind of whines about how he, the Sword of Nald, returned, and is threatened with violence instead of being met by adoring fans. So yeah, either this guy is an ass, or I can't read the sarcasm in the text in Final Fantasy. I honestly can't tell. Well, he starts telling us about his sword and his former companion, when the group of nameless attackers burst into the quicksand here to take Aldis's head. I do detest people getting in the way of me receiving lore, so I smack them with my parrel. But then Aldis decides we must talk later, as he wants to find a new place to drink. So back we go to Mila to tell her what happened, and in turn Mila teaches us how to throw our shield at the enemy before bidding us to return once more in 5 levels. As we return, Mila tells us a fellow gladiator has been gravely injured. They are now at the coffin, and we must go there immediately to bring him some medicine. We do that, and the gladiator tells us he was attacked by something, but he didn't see what it was. Knowing something gravely injured him, we go to investigate, as whatever it is, it has to be taken care of. As we investigate, we hear news about a man in Gary's purple robe, speaking in a link pearl about a wrong man. This is most likely the attacker. The gladiator is a higher male, after all. I wonder if this person was seeking out Aldis. At the place of the attack, we find an engraved ring with an image of a scorpion. We bring the news of the purple cloak and the ring to the gladiator. He doesn't recognize the ring, but does remember the cloak. He tells us to go talk to Wymond in Ul'dah, because he might know what kind of ring this is. And we know Wymond quite well by this point, because he takes part in many quests in Ul'dah, so he's quite easy to find. We show him the ring and he almost tackles us, demanding we stop waving the thing around. The ring has the sigil of the Alacran, a criminal organization in Ul'dah. It has risen quickly to power and is rumored to have connection with the brass blade and even the syndicate itself. So we return to Mila to tell her about the ring that apparently has the symbol of the Ul'dah Mafia on it. Mila tells us she heard the rumor of a group of bandits heading to the Silver Bazaar in search of someone with a huge bounty on their head. And that is the moment Aldis shows up yet again, telling her this is not her fight, that these thugs want him and she should just stay out of it and leave him to handle this mess. I want to point out that these are the most idiotic bounty hunters ever, as they seem to be planning on beating up every hired man with a sword in Ul'dah and the surrounding area, when Aldis is quite easy to recognize with his fancy blade. And I think Aldis is an asshole who is just way too full of himself, and I don't like him right now, because these bounty hunters keep on attacking the Gladiator Guild, and therefore it makes it Mila's business. So off we go to the Silver Bazaar to deal with the thugs, because we simply can't have every hyrule in the area beaten to a pulp for no reason. This time Mila meets us there, we defend the bazaar with the might of the Gladiator Guild, and after the fight a man in purple robe shows up, and he is no other than Leovold, who holds the sister blades of Aldis. And I'm sorry, but this is just really stupid now. The blades are identical. How are they having so much trouble figuring out who Aldis is when they have the sister blade of Aldis to look at before they go find him? Well, Mila is in too much shock and our group is too injured to fight more, so the bastard just walks away while we bring our people back to the guild hall. And there Aldis shows up, talking about how he wanted to spare Mila the pain of seeing Leovold. Just what the hell, how about just tell the woman and let her make her own choices? She was bound to find out eventually, so why not tell her? Well, Aldis promises to get to the bottom of things and figures out why their former friend decided to lead a criminal organization, while I head off to smack a few more things so I could get to level 25. And somewhere between level 20 and 25, I decided I really wanted to imitate a chess piece. That is the only reason I can find to explain this getup I am in. I also failed to record the level 25 questline, so the background footage will be something. I hope it's gonna be okay. So the questline starts by Mila apologizing for putting us in major danger by not having known Leovold had become the leader of the Alacran. I don't really blame her though, no one seems to want to tell her anything, so I don't know how she would have known anyway. She tells us she has her best people searching for the reason why he turned to the life of crime, and one of them has gone missing, so she plans to send us into major danger to search for this guy. I would act shocked, but I have welded a helmet onto my head, so instead I just nod and off we go. We go to the hammers in Western Thanalan and find our guild brother, who tells us this is a trap. Well, no fear, I don't think anything can harm me in this thing. We dispose of the guys and send the gladiator to safety. Mila is grateful and asks us to go rest, but tells us the guild receptionist has a message for us. So Aldis has left us a message to meet him at the graveyard near Camp Drybone. And here we add another person into the pot of people not telling the guildmaster important information. But hey, it's not like I'm doing it either. So we head off to meet Aldis next to the grave of Mila's father. There Aldis does admit that Mila may have indeed had it hard after the whole fiasco those years ago. And as we talk, Sana, the Mikote traveling with Leovold, shows up, intending to kill Aldis. And here Aldis decides he just isn't in the mood to fight right now, so we are to deal with her while he evaluates our performance. After this, he tells us Mila is a great warrior, a good leader, but also pretty much emotional and hot-headed, and needs stable people around her, and he is pleased we are there to help her. And we have the option to say, she needs you, Aldis. Yeah, nope, hell no, I'm not getting into any sort of a weird, messed up romantic subplot between those two. That is not happening. They are a terrible couple. So I tell him I'll do what I can. And he promises this business with Leovold is almost over. So off I head, we'll get a few more levels and return to Mila at level 30 for the end of the Gladiator questline. Mila is very upset because Aldis has been arrested by the Brass Blades on suspicion of planning to assassinate the Sultana via poison. Mila is convinced Aldis has no reason to do this, and even if he did, he would never use poison. She sends us to talk to Wyman to see if he has any information on the matter. Wyman tells us a little bit about Aldis's past and his history in the Coliseum, and notably tells us that Leovold could not continue his career without Aldis. And now, with Aldis having been arrested holding a vial of poison named Ralsk's Bile, only made by the Corpse Brigade, a group of thugs out in the desert. So Wyman tells us to go check them out, maybe we can find some clues there. We head to their camp and find both a vial of the poison, but also a bill of sale. But it's not marked for Aldis, it's marked for Leovold's gang. We return to Mila with the evidence. She tells us Aldis has been handed over to the Sacrarium, who plan to execute him today. We show her the proof of Aldis's innocence and then hurry over to the execution, which is to be performed at Highbridge. It seems the execution plan is to throw Aldis off a cliff. We show the priest our evidence, but they refuse to even examine it closely. The judging has already been done, and now it's only a matter of finishing the execution. But before Aldis can be thrown off, Mila shows up, throwing Aldis's blade down to him, allowing Aldis to break free, causing the executioner and priest to run away. But just as we think all is safe, Leovold's men show up, attacking the gladiator up on the bridge, while Leovold himself comes to duel Aldis one last time. We are sent up to assist Mila and our guild, while Aldis takes care of Leovold. We finish off the thugs, and then we watch Aldis and Leovold finish their fight, with Aldis becoming victorious. But Leovold can't take another loss. He tells Aldis he will never find peace before throwing himself off the side of the cliff to a certain death. Afterwards, we return to the guild hall with Aldis and Mila, where Aldis tells us about their fateful match 7 years ago. He says he was offered a handsome reward for throwing away the match, but he refused even if Leovold disagreed. Still, now it's time for him to leave. Mila is saddened and wishes for him to stay, and is pretty firm that he better not have to wait 7 years to see him again. But Aldis heads off on his own for a new set of adventures to avoid tainting Mila's name within the city. And so ends our journey as a gladiator. A journey which did not hold a single gladiator match. But at least it was fun. I might not have liked all parts of the story, but I enjoyed it well enough. I'm sure this is not the last time we'll see Aldis, but that remains to be seen when we explore the paladin sometimes in the future. Next week, we will remain in Ul'dah and join the Pugilist Guild, and if you want to make sure to see it, please remember to subscribe and press the notification bell. And if you liked the video, please remember to give us a thumbs up and a comment. It does wonders for the rating. But for now, I hope you have a lovely day.